you done now?
As they said in the film, Back to the Future, where we're going, we don't need roads.
Oh, Brad, what have you done now?
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me you built a time machine? Out of a DeLorean?
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit. Next Saturday night, we're sending you back to the future.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Back to the Future, the podcast, the only podcast looking back in time at the greatest film trilogy of all time, Back to the Future. I am your friend in time, Brad Gilmore, and today on the show we have a special interview. I really enjoyed talking to this man. This was one I've been trying to get for a little while, and had to do a little detective work, a little digging to try to find this man's contact information. But I'm excited, very excited. Harry Waters Jr. joins us on the show today. The man who played Marvin Berry, cousin of Chuck Berry, in Back to the Future, who sang Earth Angel at the Enchantment Under the Sea dance. We talked to him and hear his story about how he was cast, recording the song, so much stuff with Harry Waters Jr., a.k.a. Marvin Berry. So let's get to it right now here on Back to the Future, the podcast, Season 4, Harry Waters Jr. Harry Waters Jr. joins me right now. Harry, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. It's going to be a hot one here in the Twin Cities, but we're all cooled off.
Okay, yeah. Does it get real hot up there?
Well, it's the summer and we have 10,000 lakes.
Oh, yeah.
So we get a good amount of humidity. And, of course, in the winter, it's 19 below. So we get all kinds of weather.
You're on both sides of the spectrum. Both sides of the spectrum. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to join us today on the show. I know you're about to teach a class here just momentarily, not too long now. How long have you been teaching?
I've been teaching about 15 years here in the Twin Cities. I've been working at McAllister College. I went back to grad school as an adult after I left L.A. for a while and got hired at McAllister, and I've been there all this time. I got promoted. I'm a full professor, and I'm chair of the theater and dance department.
And do you think this has been like the true calling of your life? You spend a lot of time in Hollywood, movies, television, but is this what you really love doing?
I would say it's the next thing I love doing. I will always, always, always love acting. And I've come to love teaching because I get to give back. I get to let all these young people know how to do it well, how to do it right, and then how to keep a job once you get in there.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm sure it's an incredible experience to try to share, your story, share your insight on acting and theater performing. Of course, you're a stage actor as well. Let's take it back, though, all the way back to the 80s. What brought you out to Los Angeles?
Oh, wow. No one's actually ever asked me that, but it was really weird. I got asked to be a puppeteer on this show by Sid and Marty Krofft about Richard Pryor. It was called Little Richie, and it was 1984, I think. And there was another one of those skills that you should develop as an actor, try and do everything. And I was hired as a puppeteer to do about 5 different kinds of characters on there. So then I decided to stay because I'd gone back to New York for a while. And then I was in LA, and then I started another whole series of working. I did regional theater. I was doing a lot of guest spots on a lot of sitcoms because that paid pretty well. I must say I was pretty lucky while I was in LA that I never had to wait a table.
Yeah, that's a rarity. You're probably in the minority on that one.
Yes, I know I am, which is really weird some days.
So you go out there to be a puppeteer on a Richard Pryor show. I never heard that before. That's awesome. And then
right, it was
No,
It
go
was a one-season thing that happened, and then I guess they decided not to do it anymore. But it was great. It was fun working. I got to know a lot of people. I got to hang out with a different crowd. And then I did a show called What a Country, which was a sitcom based on an American citizenship class starring Yakov Smirnoff. If you remember that name from the past.
Yeah, definitely. Wow.
The late 80s. And we were all from different countries. I was Robert Muboto from Muboto land because my father was the king and we had escaped because he swallowed all the diamonds. So it was.
It sounds
we
like
had a
something
woman
the
from
80s.
China. We had, yes. So that was a lot of fun. But this was before cable. This was even before Fox.
for the next network. Wow. So you definitely you had a lot of success in television. You got to be on TV a lot in LA. Like you said, you never waited a table. So in '84 is when you went out there for this Little Richie show. Around what time did you start hearing about Back to the Future?
Well, I have to say it was a very interesting, weird association, and I sort of like telling the story. Is I got a call from the casting director to come, and they wanted people to come and sing for this movie. And this was like, they said it was going to be a sort of a doo-wop singer. And so, at the moment when I got the audition, I was doing a musical at the time called The Me Nobody Knows, which was done in the 70s, that they were doing a remake in LA. I was the oldest teenager in the world, but that's okay. I could still play them. And so I took my song in, I auditioned, I went back to rehearsal. Next day they said, we want to bring you back for a callback. I went, oh, great, sure. So the callback was at Steven Spielberg's Amblin Studios, which is like his own studio in the middle of Universal. It's all based on E.T. It's like its own little planet. So I go back to the callback, and it's just to sit and meet Robert Zemeckis. And we talked. And we talked about theater, and we talked about life. I talked about being in New York and moving back to L.A., and that was it. I went, well, I guess that went well. I have no idea. And I think there was one other guy that they had called back, and I probably forgot about it. Now, at the same time, I was also up for a TV series that was called He's the Mayor, and my agent was trying to tell me that I should wait and hold out for the TV series. And I told her, I said, let's wait and see what happens. So then I got the call for Back to the Future, and she wanted me to wait for this TV series. I said, wait, it's a Spielberg movie. I don't know what it is, but I want to be in it. So I got the movie, and I didn't get the TV series, even though I was like the finalist. And when we got there, the best thing about shooting that scene in the dance, the Enchantment Under the Sea dance, was it was the first new thing that the whole crew was shooting. And you probably know the story about that, I would hope.
So I'm assuming you're referring to this is the first thing they shot after they replaced Eric Stoltz with Michael J.
After they replaced Eric Stoltz.
So you never worked with Eric Stoltz?
I never saw him.
Okay.
Because once they let him go, they had to go back and reshoot everything. And so when they got to our scene, it was the first new stuff. Everybody was excited. We had all these wonderful extras. We had a live band on stage. Now it's 1985. So cameras are not, there's no CGI. So things have to be set up for these major shots that are flowing through a dance hall that take hours to set up. And so what we had a wonderful opportunity to do was to play live. So we were singing songs, the band, the musicians would be playing. We'd get all the kids, all the dancers dancing. They would tell us, like, all right, you guys, calm down. We got to shoot now. Oh, okay. It was the most fun you could possibly imagine having and getting paid for it.
So there was a live band, and you were just y'all were just jamming out, kind of entertaining everybody there?
Yes.
Oh, man, that's
yes.
awesome.
Because there'd be long times between takes, and they were fine with it. They said, sure, let's just do it. Everyone was pretty happy, I have to say. And we only shot the scene in the car where they open the door and all the smoke comes out. That was the only on-site scene that we shot at Whittier High School in Whittier, California. But everything else was in this church, gymnasium, and stage that's still there at Franklin and Highland in Hollywood.
Oh, wow. So, people can go visit that structure today. So, I guess it was pretty much an easy shoot, but I always wanted to know, so you actually recorded the song Earth Angel for the movie, right?
Yes, I did. I'm standing here looking at my gold record right now.
Oh, that's awesome.
The great story about that is they wanted me to do the click track, just for shooting. And then Alan Silvestri said, well, do you want to sing it for the film? For the soundtrack? And I went, really? Sure. Why not? And this was after we had finished shooting. So we did about 14 takes, I think, that day. And I left. Once again, it's like, okay, that was fine. Then when we went to the movie premiere and that scene happened, it was like, oh my God. That's amazing that it busts into this full orchestra playing after Marty comes back to life when his parents kiss.
Wow.
So it was, and thank goodness for Huey Lewis and the News, the power of love. That's why the album went gold.
but you got that gold record. I could be completely off on this because I tried to find it before we started talking today. I remember reading it a long time ago. I was reading a book and they were talking about you in it and the making of the film and the song. Were you originally, and I could be wrong, and correct me if I am, were you originally not going to be given credit for that record? Is that right?
Oh, right. Exactly. Yeah. We had no idea. It was just, they're just going to put the soundtrack on there. But I'm always thankful to Huey Lewis because he insisted. He was a great guy to make sure that we were all on there and named. So always something good to make friends with everybody. You never know when it's going to pay off.
So I think that's an awesome story. I think that obviously in the movie you have I think one of the most iconic lines in the film that everyone always remembers. It's just a great joke. But I've always wanted to ask you this because I watched the movie again not too long ago, and I was thinking about that line and about that situation where Chuck Berry essentially steals his sound from Marty McFly. And
right,
which is kind of almost a play on Elvis Presley in a way. Everyone said that he kind of stole his sound from Chuck Berry. So, but my
right.
thing always was in 2017 now, if that were to happen, people are very sensitive now, and I think that it'd be a big. I honestly think there'd be a big backlash, and I wanted to know back in the 80s. Was there a backlash for that line at all? Were there anybody how dare they?
It's always interesting. The stories around that were 2 weeks before we did the scene, Chuck Berry had not agreed yet.
He had not agreed to do the joke?
He had not agreed for them to use Johnny Be Good.
Oh, really?
Right. He had not agreed to it. And it was 2 weeks before we were supposed to shoot it. And he had not said yes. He hadn't. And so everybody was nervous as hell because then what are they going to do? That's how it's sort of written in. Then finally, it's literally the 11th hour. And I'm sure he got compensated well because that's the kind of businessman he was.
Mm-hmm.
He said yes. And the whole idea that, yes, this white kid from 1985 was playing this blues song from 1955 was was absolutely like, oh my God, you're kidding. Is that happening? But I would add, it was 32 years ago. So also because it was a comedy and it had Michael J. Fox, there was a whole different spin on how it was done and who it was. And I think the cleverness of having me do that line, which of course, yeah, everybody liked that line.
Everyone loves it.
I'm still amazed wherever I travel. Everybody says, Chuck, this is Marvin, your cousin Marvin Berry. You know that Miss Al you're looking for? Well, listen to this. Well, of course, the story behind that line also, end of the day, we had shot some of the dance. I think they just finished shooting the hand as well. It was the last thing for the day. We're off on the side of the stage, all the lights, cameras, this small little space, tight little space. I did the line. He said, cut, one take. And everybody went home.
So you cut this iconic line that people will remember forever in like 30 seconds.
Right. And it was done. I went, because I even said, you don't want to do another one? He said, nope, we got it. It's like, wow, well, thank you so much. Yeah. So it was another one of those, there were always those sort of happy moments that just happened. Just that you couldn't have asked for them. You couldn't have even made them up, but they helped just making the experience so rich for everybody. And when we went on a tour the 30th anniversary tour, I was amazed at the number of people who came up to me who said they got married to that song and my version of it. And it's just like, I feel so honored that, it's had such an effect on people's lives, for 25, 30 years. It's absolutely fascinating to me.
And
humbling.
Yeah, and humbling, I'm sure. And, from a personal story for me, I guess maybe now, I don't even know. Several years back, when I was in high school, I was in the choir program, and on Valentine's Day, the director came to us and said, hey, we're going to do these Valentine's Day grams, and, people are going to buy them, and you go to their class, and you'll sing them to the girl or the guy they bought them for or whatever, right? And we need to come up with some songs. The very first thing I suggested was Earth Angel because of you in that movie. It was, and then we sang it. We probably sang that song 100 times that day. And everyone wanted to sing Earth Angel. So, always is a great classic song, and definitely a classic rendition of it sang by you. So,
it was great. Thank you so much. It just pleases me to hear that it's still, just in people's world.
Yeah, one of the most iconic, one of the most iconic movies of all time. So, you talk about seeing yourself on screen at the premiere. Did you on set? Did you get close to anybody? Did you get close to Michael J. Fox? Obviously, y'all had the most scene together.
We only had a couple of scenes, other than working with when the band was there.
Well, obviously, yeah.
When we did the Whittier scenes, but he was busy. Because he was shooting Family Ties in the day, and then he was shooting the movie at night. So people had to give him enough space so that he could rest between setups. But it was amazing how much energy and professionalism he had and he's like the nicest guy in the world. Nicest guy in the world. So that made it different as well. But we didn't get a chance to be close. I knew more of the musicians better for a few years, and then they all went off to their own musical careers. But the guy that plays the mayor, Goldie Wilson.
Yes.
His name is Donald yes. Fullilove. Well, we've become good friends. So over the years.
Yeah, he seems like a great guy. He seems like a great guy. I tried to get him on the show before, and I missed his phone call, and I haven't been able to get back in touch with him, but he seems like a great guy.
Oh, my God. I am like low-key, low energy compared to Donald. He's amazing. So when we have done some of the Comic Cons together, it's like sharing that crazy energy. We like have our own universe in our corner. But it's so much fun doing those. I must say, with someone like Donald, because he's not an on-screen actor anymore. He does mostly voiceover work, which makes him very happy. He's not competing for all those jobs on camera now.
Yeah, I'm sure that's great. I'm sure it's great not to have the competition. I want to ask you about the 30-year anniversary and everything in just 1 second. But before we get to that, I always wanted to know. So in Back to the Future 2, you're in Back to the Future 2 as well. Did you have to shoot new scenes for that, or did they just use it from the old movie?
Oh, we had to, because we had to shoot from a different angle. So we had to go back, and they built a new stage because they had to shoot it from the side so he could climb over, and also they could shoot from above. And of course, they had to match the cameras. Once again, this was 1989 when we did 2. Is they did not have the technology to just plug them in, so they had to shoot it, and the cameras had to match exactly where he was. There was that great opportunity of, this is everybody has a story about the movie they were in. There was a scene they shot where Marvin Berry was the only person who saw both of them, because when I'm going backstage to the phone, I look up and see him crawling across, and then I see him on stage, and I go, nah, and then I head towards the phone. But they cut that. It's okay.
It happens.
It was a big movie. They had so much future stuff to do.
Yeah.
Which, that's phenomenal.
So okay. So I always wanted to know if you were in if they had to shoot new scenes, and they did. That was probably a very deja vu like moment. I'm sure, to go back there and have to do that again.
It was amazing. I mean, we were able to get some of the same extras, because I always had I had a little pack of 9 girls that I told the AD. I said, I need these 9 girls to be there. They're my focus.
I need a little inspiration.
Extra work and extra. Yes, exactly. I said, those are the ones. They went, okay, we'll make sure that they're here. That was one of the pluses.
Yeah, I'm sure. So you talked about it a minute ago about the 30-year anniversary, and you're going on tour, and now you're doing all these Comic Cons. How was it? I mean, in 2015, it felt like Back to the Future it was like it came out for the first time. Like, it was everywhere a couple years ago, as it always is. But I mean, obviously in 2015, right. 30 years later, so much. I mean, how was that for you?
It was absolutely amazing, because, first of all, there were celebrations all over the world. I am so grateful. I got to go to 7 different countries because of Back to the Future. Wow. And, of course, we had a big, huge event at the London Comic Con, which is 40,000 people.
Mm-hmm. That's quite a bit of people.
Yeah, a lot of people over 3 days.
Yeah,
but there were a lot of different celebrities from all different kinds of shows and movies, video games, all sorts of things. But we had an amazing event where it was like the whole line from Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Leah, everybody except Biff, of course, at the time, and they were asking people questions. And then someone asked me if I could still sing the song, and I went, okay. Everybody who's ever been engaged or married to the song, stand up. A third of the people stood up.
Oh, wow.
And then I just sang it a cappella for them. And people were crying.
I can only imagine. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, that song, it sticks out in the movie. And, I think it's just, people have a connection with it. Yeah.
Right. And then I did a couple of shows in France. We had Argentina, Chile, Jamaica. We've been a lot of places. Now, I haven't been as many places as Donald has, because I have this job.
Yeah.
I do have to teach. I have to show up for classes, and I have to administrate. So I haven't done as much as a lot of the other people have. But when I am able to get out, it's been a great opportunity to just welcome the fans. I mean, it's no big deal for me. It's like I always feel that I'm giving back because people are so appreciative.
Yeah, no, and I think it's awesome that you want to reach out there and see as many people as possible while still teaching your students. I mean, I'm sure it's not an easy balance at times. Oh, I got to go to France, but I got to teach a 9 a.m. class in St. Paul. I'm
There
sure
have been
you're.
the times it's
I'm
like,
sure
okay.
you're the coolest professor to your students.
I try not to think of myself as the coolest guy because in my mind, I'm still Urkel before there was Urkel. I was that nerd.
I'm
But
sure.
now
I'm
I
sure
suddenly have
people-
a.
Uh-huh. Go ahead.
They tell me I have a good reputation. I've been pretty well rewarded since I've been teaching. I mean, last year, which is people in my department are still celebrating, I got the Educator of the Year award for the college.
Wow! Congratulations.
And no, it's like I didn't. It's a student-run thing, so it had to come from the students. So I'm just once again, wow, you guys, thank you so much. Someone in the theater department, people in the fine arts division, very seldom get that sort of recognition. It's usually people in the sciences or the social sciences who are really acknowledged. But the fine arts, we do a lot of work. We change people's lives. That's what I say.
Yeah, I mean, go ask some of the math professors how many people got married to a song they sang.
Very true. Very true.
So, I thank you so much for your time. Just real quick before I let you go, is there any way if people
welcome.
If people want to reach out to you and just express their fandom, is there any way people can reach out to you or anything like that?
I have a couple of ways. One is I'm not hiding. You can find me very easy. It's just I have an email at McAllister College, so they can find me through that way.
Okay.
And I'm taking a year off, a sabbatical, well earned, and I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to Sonoma. I'm going to Las Vegas. I'm going to Chile. May go to Tanzania.
Wow.
So I'm hoping to do some more kinds of research for my teaching. That's what I call it. Yes.
Well, if you make it down to Houston, if you make it down to Houston, Texas, just give me a shout in that sabbatical, and we'll catch up. But thank you so much, Harry, for taking the time.
So
and, enjoy your class.
Have a great one. Take care. Bye bye.
Oh, Brad, what have you done now? Oh, Brad, what have you done now?